Alright guys, in the bottom left position as the orange Zerg, we do have an W Predator. GN got the double tags back and front. And at the top right position as the blue Zerg, we do have FlaF. I really hope everything's working because I guess if everything just catastrophically falls apart on the stream, I wouldn't know about it for 3 minutes. It's kind of like that thing where, you know, it takes light 8 minutes to travel from the sun to Earth. So if the sun were to just like disappear into a black hole right now, we wouldn't know for 8 minutes. So for all we know, we could already be dead right now and just not know it, you know? It's like an apocalyptic version of the exploding heart technique or something. I can't remember what that thing was called. Anyway, oh, I need to update my overlay because this is actually not me against Flash, although I did win that best of 5. But this is actually FlaF, who's apparently gone for 9-pool overload trick. No, he's actually just gone for the gas trick without going for 9-pool. Okay. Against Predator. I'm just gonna write Predator because otherwise it's far too complicated for my feeble mind. Okay, cool. So that should be good here. Looks like both players getting that overlord, and ooh, interesting. We have a 10 hatch. So we have a gas trick into a 10 hatch in the main base of FlaF. This is essentially a 9 hatch Zergling all in, right? Except he just did it with 1 extra drone. So now he'll make another drone, and then he'll make gas, and then he'll go speedling all in. Interestingly, he's put the 9 hatch in his base. This is actually not bad. Normally, I'm not a fan of putting an extra hatchery in your base in ZvZ. But I mean, if you're going Zergling in all in anyway, you know, I don't think it makes a huge difference whether this hatch is here or not. And on the other side from Predator, was this a 12 pool? Or an overpool? Probably a 12 pool, right? 12 pool into expand. It's pretty safe, solid build. By the way, guys, check it out. I got like the fancy Esports logo here on the right side. Hopefully that's not too big. It was very hard for me to actually like see the size in my preview window, so I can't actually tell if this looks good or not. If it needs to be bigger or smaller or whatever. I think it looks kind of okay now. Just looking at it now. All right. Anyway, yeah. So highly expect these drones to be pulled once he gets 100 gas. Yeah, you can see he's pulling them out. Although he pulled one guy back for some reason. Wait, what? Alright, so he mined 1 extra gas blob more than necessary. But that's acceptable. I don't even know how that happened either, because he had 3 and he started pulling them and he put 1 back for some reason. Probably just some kind of misclick or something. Maybe it's nerves, I don't know. But yeah, this is pretty crazy. First round ZvZ for these two guys. They were saying in the chat earlier, it's a little bit unfortunate, you know, that one of these guys is going to go out here in the first round. This is a single elimination tournament. I believe best of 3 all rounds, including the finals. And the way it works for these qualifiers is it's a point system. So depending on how well you place, you will get a different amount of points. Even if you actually get knocked out first round, I believe you still get 3 points. But obviously, the higher you go, the more points you get. I believe if you win the whole qualifier, you get 75 points, which is quite a bit. So definitely want to place as highly as you can, and also participate in as many of these qualifiers as you can. Now, FlaF being very sneaky here, look at this. He's hidden most of his Zerglings by his mineral line, and he's basically pretending he's gone for a fast lair here off 1 base. So he's pretending he's doing something like an overpool straight into lair or something like that. Rather than the all-in link that he's doing. So now he's going to use just a handful of links to push Predator back. This could still be just 1 base. Notice, you know, the Overlord still has no idea what's going on for Predator. Predator, is he going to build a sunken? He's got a drone in position. If he doesn't build a sunken now, I think he might just die. He's not going to build a sunken because Predator has no idea what FlaF is actually doing here. He's been completely I don't know, not befuddled, I don't know. He's been tricked. He's been hornswaggled. And now he's probably dead. He is probably dead to this Zergling all in. He's doing a good job of actually kind of buying time and distracting these Zerglings, But I think he might just need to build a Sunken in his main and sack his natural. I don't think there's any way you can save his natural. So like 2 Sunkens in the main and just pray that your Mutas can come out or something like that. But realistically, he's pretty dead. He is so dead. Predator, oh no, he's trying. He doesn't want to die. It is a best of 3. It is definitely a best of 3. But it is definitely game 1 going in favor of FlaF. Man, Predator's fighting to the end. He's at 9 supply. GG from Predator. At FlaF with the sneaky 9 hatch. Although technically it was a 10 hatch. Taking down Predator in game number 1. At the top right position, as the orange Zerg, we do have Predator. Representing Team Net Wars. And his opponent at the bottom right. As the purple Zerg will be FlaF. It looks like we're on outsider. Is it outsider, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So FlaF going for the, basically going for the cheese, the Ling All-In cheese last game. Let's see what he does here. FlaF, by the way, I actually quite like FlaF because he played some really funny games in the TSL 2. That's right, FlaF has been active all the way, back in the day. And I believe he played a best of 5 against Rhett that went down to game 5. A ZvZ actually, because Rhett played ZvZ in TSL 2. For some reason, actually, I guess at that point he was already training his ZvZ in Korea, so he just decided to. Sorry, I'm still playing overlay. So I guess he decided to play ZvZ in TSL 2, and I think Rhett won that 3-2. But there were some pretty close games. I think Rhett won because I'm pretty sure Rhett got knocked out by Sen, didn't he? In TSL 2? I could be completely wrong about this. In any case, we have a gas first here from Predator. Very interesting. And I think this was just a normal 9 pool from FlaF. So FlaF is once again going for some early Zergling shenanigans. Predator going for the super fast gas. So he went something like an overgas and then pool, which I think is actually a valid build. I think this, it's a very, this gives you like a specific amount of gas, lets you get a certain amount of muta. ZvZ, assuming you don't die to Zerglings, is kind of like a gas limited matchup. So getting the gas first is not the worst. I wish I could tell you more about this build, to be honest. I know there are definitely some intricacies. And I think given that his pool is not that much slower, he should be okay against these early Lings from FlaF. I keep looking at the chat, but you guys are already in the past, guys. Come on, get with the program. You guys are like some fashion style from last season. I don't even want to talk to you guys anymore. You guys are so out of fashion. I'm actually gonna move this logo up slightly though because it seems to be overlapping stuff. Oh no, FlaF actually doesn't know where his opponent is yet. Oh man, his Overlord his Overlord was in range of the creep. How did he not see that? Maybe he just got, no, but his Overlord should have been the creep like from here. So I guess he just wasn't paying attention actually and didn't realize that his opponent was there. But how did these Overlords not actually meet each other in the middle of the map? Man, I was not paying attention to the Overlord pathing at all. My apologies guys, I'm still getting used to this this delay thing, because normally the way this works is I don't actually need to pay attention to whether things are working on stream, because if they aren't working, everyone in chat is just like, fix the overlay, fix the whatever, you're on the wrong scene. But I can't actually rely on that right now, so it's slightly stressful, slightly traumatic. Now Predator with the nice arc there actually wins the initial engagement, but doesn't actually pull those Lings back. We've got a Spire and the Sunken being made for Predator, whereas FlaF presumably went for the speed first. So Predator went lair first, FlaF went speed first. Predator knows that he's just got to hold off these Zerglings, so he's built a pretty nice little cool base layout here, so he can drill very effectively over the top of both of these buildings. I think. Pretty sure the pathing would take the drones over the Spire if he went like here to here. So he's going to be able to protect himself against against these Zerglings. And now he comes in here, he sees the exact timing, he sees the Spire. FlaF has actually not bothered to do any kind of fancy positioning on his Spire, which means that later on in the game it could potentially be vulnerable to some kind of Zergling snipe. Although probably not too likely. Although, ooh, FlaF losing a couple of Zerglings, getting them trapped in here. See, Predator saw with the Overlord that FlaF actually had no Zerglings coming out, so he actually decided to go for the counterattack, force a few Zerglings. So it looks like we got 9 drones total. Versus 10, 11 drones. It looks like FlaF with 11 drones to Predator's 9. That's why Predator going for the attack right now. And this could be very, very bad for FlaF. He's making more Zerglings, but FlaF, a little bit too greedy, droning a little bit too hard, is now potentially going to lose his drone advantage. 1 drone fall, 2 drone falls. Okay, so now they should be even, although I think he made 1 more there. But look at this, 3 drones being killed by Predator. Great move by Predator. He's actually ahead 6 supply, 18 to 12 right now. And his Spire was also faster, so presumably air units are on the way right now. Oh, there's 1 hit left on this drone, but he does get 1 more. Can he get this damaged one? Which one is it? It's this one. Oh, he gets 1 more here anyway, though. Oh my god. So FlaF down to 5 drones, it looks like. FlaF with only 5 drones against 6, 7, 8, 9 still for Predator, and he does have his mutas out. So the Zergling counter is unlikely to do anything, especially since the Sunken Colony is already finished. Oh my god, Bob just said that's completely wrong. I don't know what he's referring to. It's okay, I think he's trolling. He put the Kappa, please tell me the Kappa's real. GG from FlaF, and Predator takes game number 2, and we are 1-1 in this series. Alright, so here we go into game number 3. At the top right position is the brown Zerg, we do have Predator. And at the top left as the white Zerg, we do have FlaF. So 1 apiece here. And looks like the Overlords for both players, interestingly, scouting in the wrong direction. Now this does mean that FlaF is scouting in the quote-unquote unconventional direction, right? Normally you scout towards the close natural, I think. So FlaF could be doing something like a 12 hatch. Basically, FlaF wants to make it so Predator doesn't know where he spawned. That's usually what this means. So either you scout, counterclockwise here, or you can even scout towards the middle to make sure the Overlords don't pass. So for example, if you went 12 hatch, he went 9 pool. Because he can't see your Overlord with his Overlord, you have a chance that his Zerglings go in the wrong direction. I think that's the principle. That's the idea. Anyway, so it looks like, oh no, it's actually a 9 pool. Okay, it's completely not what I said. It's literally not 12 hatch. The opposite of 12 hatch. I was gonna see. I wanted to say the opposite of 12 hatch, but I don't like. You can't be the opposite of a build, right? That doesn't even make sense. Wait, did they both 9 pool? They both 9 pooled, but they scouted differently. That's so strange. If FlaF had scouted clockwise, like I think normally you do, he would have actually scouted Predator first and had a pretty big advantage. But given that he didn't. This is actually going to be a completely blind 9 pool versus 9 pool. This could be super interesting, actually. And to be honest, I'm very happy that it's come down to this for the final game because now there's no luck involved, right? If FlaF had scouted clockwise and scouted him first, basically it would have been entirely the luck of the spawns that would have given him a huge advantage. And given that this is a deciding game to who advances in the tournament, that's a pretty huge deal, right? So I'm actually quite glad it's turned out like this. And it's going to be really interesting to see who, whether one player goes lair first or speed first, who decides to expand, who decides to drone up. The second Overlords will eventually get to each other's bases to see what's going on. But it's still going to be a little while here. And guys, I have just been informed that my little brother and mom and dad are watching the stream. So hi guys. I hope you enjoy some StarCraft action. Please subscribe. Oh man, wait, so somehow, wait a minute. Somehow the first 6 Lings fight in the middle of the map and FlaF wins, kills 2 Zerglings without actually losing anything. I wasn't actually paying attention because I got distracted by the the notification of mom and dad watching. But I have to assume that Predator was on move command while moving down the middle of the map, and FlaF was on attack move or just reacted faster and was able to kill 2 of Predator's links for free. So you can see the 1 supply difference. Now, you might think 1 supply difference makes, or you know, a 2 Zergling difference makes no difference, but it does in ZvZ. But Predator countering with a little Zergling snipe there. Oh man, this is some high level tactics here, micro tactics in this game. You can see, so basically you want to make an arc, right? So if you make a really nice arc here, the other guy can't attack move down in because your Zerglings will get a better surface area against his Zerglings. But, you know, normally when you do this, you just hold position all your Lings and you don't necessarily pay attention. Oh no, Predator messed it up. You hold position your Lings and you might be doing something back home, and if you don't pay attention, he can send 2 Lings to attack just the 1 Ling on the edge and get an advantage that way. But unfortunately for Predator, messing it up a little bit and actually losing 2 Lings for 1, getting the worst end of that exchange. So I think overall right now, at least in the Zergling exchanges, FlaF has been up 2 Zerglings, but now it's a little bit harder to keep track. Looks like Predator really wants to break down here. I can see on the minimap more Zerglings coming out for FlaF. It looks like 1 Zergling actually gets down here, and FlaF actually might need to run away because he's lost control of the bottom of the ramp here. He's got to regroup with the rest of his Zerglings. And it looks like Spire on the way. Spire, look at this, identical Spire timings for both players. What's the drone situation like? 8 versus 7. Wait, no, 8. I missed one. Okay, so identical drones, identical Spire timings. FlaF appears to still have a 1 supply advantage. So FlaF, it seems, has held on to the 2 Zergling lead that he had since the very beginning of the game. This is how tight ZvZ is. You have to count. Oh no, but FlaF trying to do the runaround on the top side. I don't know if the Overlord actually saw that, or he just got slightly fortunate with the timing of his Zerglings moving out, or it could just be game sense. You know, doing the 2 Zergling backstab is very, very common in ZvZ. And here we go. Here's the first big deviation in these builds. Expansion hatchery for Predator. Obviously nothing here for FlaF. He can't get down his ramp just yet. So Predator now, if he can hold on to this hatchery, should be in good shape. But I'm surprised. I was going to say, that probably means he made Scourge with his as soon as his thing popped, right? So you can see here's where the minerals went. So Predator saved minerals by going 1 set of Scourge and 2 Mutas with the first 3 larvae, whereas FlaF went for 3 Mutalisks. Now, in the very early game, when you have less than 4 or 5 Mutas, there actually is a very high possibility of Scourge connecting with the Mutas. Even if you have good Muta control, it's very, very difficult with only 1 or 2 or 3 Muta to actually deal with this. But it looks like Predator are not going to take the chance, actually going to pull the Scourge back and keep them alive. So FlaF presumably has a 1 Muta advantage that he could keep. If both players keep pumping Muta, FlaF will keep a 1 Muta advantage. But he is now getting his own hatchery as well. And we can see, is this going to be for gas? Yeah, Predator immediately going for the gas. As I said earlier, you know, ZvZ is a gas-limited matchup, and we can see the scout here from the Zergling of FlaF, seeing the timing, seeing the creep. He knows that this finished, you know, a little while ago. He saw the gas being taken. He knows he will be behind in gas compared to his opponent. So the question is, what does he do in response to this? You know, if he just plays defensively like this, I mean, he's going to be playing, you know, down 100 or whatever gas for the whole game, which is not really ideal, but I don't really see how he can make an aggressive move here either. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation here for FlaF. Really interesting considering that he got the early Ling advantage, that 2 Ling advantage, and actually managed to set up this blockade below Predator's ramp. All right, let me see. So 6 drones now here on the minerals versus 6 drones, and I assume there's 3 on both gases. Looks like there are, so still the same drone counts. Actually, there's 1 extra drone though for Predator at the bottom that is not present for FlaF. So it seems that Predator has a 1 drone advantage. Again, I mean, you know, in other matchups it would be very silly to talk about 1 worker differences, but in ZvZ it's absolutely crucial, and it looks like, oh my god, FlaF though, gonna take quite a few Scourge hits there. I thought he actually had a decent position because the initial Scourge kind of bugged out a little bit and didn't attack, but it looks like, oh man, taking another Scourge hit, not the greatest anti-Scourge control. It looks like it's 7 Mutas against 7, 1 more Scourge connection, which means 6 Mutas against 7 for Predator. Man, FlaF, I think missing a great opportunity to actually micro down those Scourge there. A little bit unfortunate for him. That is quite unfortunate for Mr. FlaF, and he's gonna pull back now. If he had actually microed that perfectly and killed all those Scourge, he definitely could have at least maybe killed a couple of drones while skirmishing with Predator's mutas. But right now, look at this. Predator has pulled ahead 5 supply lead. That is absolutely massive at this point in a ZvZ. And what do we have? Looks like FlaF adding some more Scourge of his own. Looks like we got a big attack here. It seems that there are, is that 8 mutas? And oh my god, a lot of Scourge connecting again. And FlaF taking a lot of Scourge, but so is Predator. This is a very strange ZvZ here. Very little anti-Scourge micro going on. I mean, the mutas haven't even been clumping that much. FlaF, I mean, looking at this, FlaF really must be a bit out of practice on his mutas. That possibly explains why FlaF went for the 9-hatch circling all-in the first game, because perhaps, you know, he might be a little bit rusty here, not really confident in his muta micro, and we can see he's gonna lose the rest of his Air Force here. FlaF in serious trouble. He's making emergency Scourge, panic Scourge, but if Predator micros properly, he should not take any Scourge hits. All of his focus really needs to be on not taking any Scourge hits, and that will be really, really key. Look how low the drone count is. It looks like FlaF has actually split his drones here. A bunch of links coming out though. This is FlaF's Hail Mary move right here, sending a control group of Zerglings into Predator's base. But Predator knows what's happening. He already made Zerglings to block, brings the mutas back in time, and I think FlaF is dead in the water right here. At 24 supply against 41, I don't see what he can possibly do, especially if he's unable to effectively micro against these Scourge. You can see another muta falling here. He's making pure Scourge right now just to buy time, but you can see Predator is a lot more on top of the micro, and GG, well played from FlaF. Predator comes back from down 0-1 and takes the 2-1 victory, advances to the round of 32. FlaF is unfortunately out of the tournament. It is a single elimination. That's the way the cookie crumbles.